Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cartoon Boom. This is a show where wake up with the Saturday morning sun, plop down on the floor with a big bowl of sugary cereal, and launch all your favorite cartoons, both old
and new.
I'm your emotional support iguana, Joseph.
And I'm an inside joke from 20 years ago that's come back to haunt you. My name's Chris.
And today we watched Jeff and Some Aliens.
And this was suggested to us by Toshen Ranma via Twitter. So thank you, Toshen Ranma.
Yeah, thank you.
I had to get that in there right in the middle. That I almost forgot.
Ranma.
Toshen Ranma. That's a fun one.
That sounds like Toshen Ranma. Sounds like a fighting game, like an old 3D Virtua Fighter-esque fighting game. But I think I'm thinking of Battle Arena Toshinden.
I get it. Like, oh man, have you ever played Toshen Ranma back in PS1 day? Like, did you ever try that? It came out for PS1, but only in Japan. It was great.
You could have told me that and out of context, and I would have been like, oh man, I feel like I've heard of it, but I've never played it.
I feel like you'd be like, yeah, I've never played it myself, but yeah, I definitely heard of it. I know all about it.
Oh yeah, I was great at that game back in the day. Haven't played it in a while though. It would take some catching up.
Yeah, I do remember it though. I definitely played it.
I used to go to some Toshen Ranma tournaments.
Yeah, in fact, I won one. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a trophy somewhere. Yeah. Just gotta find it.
Oh man, those kinds of people. Those are fun.
Yeah, the ones who have to be a part of everything that people are talking about, even if they have no previous knowledge of it.
No, they've never heard of it.
But you can't really call people out on it because then you're one of those people who's feels like a gatekeeper. Where it's like, all right, name 3 characters from Toshen Ranma.
Oh, yeah. That's where you just sit back knowing that it's all BS, and then you just one-up it and just try to get the joke to go on as long as you can. Then you can start making up oh yeah, my favorite character was Ryugi. Like, oh man, I was such a Ryugi stan back in the day. That's all I played.
Oh yeah, totally. Ryugi with that one move. Oh, the one move. Yeah.
Oh yeah. When he did the slow back edge fade. Yeah. Oh man, dude. Yeah. I would cripple the competition with that.
Down back forward quarter circle B. Down back forward quarter circle B. Yeah, man.
That's the one for sure.
Oh wow! I'm sorry, that went way off.
We can go somewhere with this. Yeah, for sure.
We got to make a Toshen Ranma game now.
Yeah, I'll start working on it.
Starring Ryugi. Okay, go on.
Starring Ryugi. Just for some FYI for everybody listening to this, Jeff and Some Aliens, which the show we're talking about, for adults, definitely for adults. There's going to be a lot of adult humor and jokes and things that we're going to talk about in this one. So if you're not an adult, this might not be the episode for you. Otherwise, check with your parents on this one.
Parental advisory for sure here.
Yes.
Get parents' permission. Actually, don't watch this show if you're a kid. I'll say that.
Don't watch.
A, you won't really get it. And B, it's very inappropriate. So yeah, that's our preface. We have to give that kind of disclaimer.
Yeah.
Because generally our show does not cover these kind of adult comedies, or adult animations, but when we do, we need to preface it. So there we go.
Exactly.
So the show, Jeff and Some Aliens, aired in 2017, created by Sean Donnelly and Alessandro Minoli, based on Jeff and Some Aliens by Video Lou, produced by Shadow Machine and Comedy Partners. Ran for 1 season, 10 episodes on Comedy Central.
When you say Jeff and Some Aliens was based on Jeff and Some Aliens, what does that mean?
Yeah. Well, I'll get there. In the marshmallows. Yeah. So for a short synopsis, Jeff, a normal guy, has 3 aliens living with him. These aliens were sent to evaluate the entire human race by what they learned from Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of just the backstory of why the aliens are there. That has really not much at all to do with the episodes, except for providing a reason why the aliens live there with Jeff in his house.
This is more of a synopsis of that the intro gives you, basically.
Yeah.
It's one of those great intros that tells you the whole story of what you're getting yourself into.
Exactly. And that Jeff was deemed the average human, and that's why they test him.
The most average human they could find.
And I would argue that he feels super below average to me, but I mean, that might just could be me being really optimistic about the human race as a whole. Maybe we're not so great.
Yeah, no, I think that it could be argued either way. And I'll leave it at that because I don't want it to be like a depressing look at humanity. But the show kind of is in a way.
I mean, I feel like if you walk into a Kansas City Walmart and then compare that with, some of the rest of the world, it's like, yeah, maybe I can kind of see it. Sorry, Kansas City.
I guess so. I mean, I don't even know that I would try to slight Kansas City. Yeah. Or if they even listen to the show.
I grew up around Missouri. I got this.
Okay. So you know.
Yeah. I'm there.
So who were some of the actors who played in the show?
Not very many as far as the main cast. The main cast is super small, but the character of Jeff was voiced by Brett Gelman, who the voice was super familiar, and I was trying to place it before I looked it up. Turns out it's Murray from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Who's all over the place now. Like, Murray is such a huge character from that show. One of my favorites from Stranger Things. Like, he was just supposed to be this kind of like, I think, throwaway character, and now he's just such a huge part of it all because he's just so lovable and just such a scoundrel on that show. Love it.
Yeah.
The voices of both Jimmy and Ted, which are two of the aliens, were voiced by Alessandro Minoli, who was one of the writers that you talked about for the show and, one of the creators of the show itself. The third alien, Dave, was voiced by Josh Fadim, or Fadim? We'll say Fadim, was voiced by Josh Fadim. And then Linda, Jeff's on and off again girlfriend, voiced by Natalie Smyka. That's pretty much it for your main cast. There's a few like cool cameos and stuff there. But, it is what it is.
And I only have like one tasty marshmallow out of our big bowl of Jeff and Some Alien cereal because there just wasn't a lot out there on it. But I think the most important thing to know is what I was mentioning earlier about it being based on Jeff and Some Aliens is these originally were sketches off of this show called Trip Tank that Comedy Central had, which was an animated sketch comedy show where it was just a variety of animators and comedians creating like little shorts for this series, Trip Tank. And Jeff and Some Aliens had some recurring episodes on that or some, recurring segments. So they essentially it got such positive feedback on the Jeff and Some Aliens portion that they decided to make it into a separate series, which is what this is. That was back in 2014. So it's like 3 years later, they pulled Jeff and Some Aliens from that and made the series out of it.
Okay, that makes some sense and fills in some answers for me here because quite a few of the voice actors here, a few of them at least don't have a lot of credit roles, but they all pretty much pop up on Trip Tank. I think Brett Gelman's the only one that has like a whole lot of other stuff. The rest of them, Trip Tank was definitely like the only other thing that it seemed they were in quite a few episodes of.
Okay, so they probably just reprise their roles then as well.
I think so. Interesting.
Well, cool.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So that's really all I had marshmallow-wise. But let's start talking about the show, starting with the very first episode being Jeff and Some Honor Killings, Season 1, Episode 1. After Jeff inadvertently murders an alien on the planet Azuria, he is forced to kill a human on Earth in order to prevent an intergalactic war. They really start the show off in a way where you're like, what am I watching right now?
I got to tell you, though, like, I was here for the dark humor of this first episode.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I just love how over the top this thing gets because it's just Jeff trying to take a shower and he's drying himself off and gets this purple goo all over his face because one of the aliens that he lives with, and these aliens are always just in their whitey tighties, like they never put on clothes. They used one of his towels and they all have like these purple bleeding back sores, which is super gross. It leaks this purple goo. So it gets on his face. They get in an argument about stuff, about like not respecting each other's privacy and everything. And like he grabs something of theirs that ends up being this super dangerous weapon. He's like, well, what if I just disrespect your stuff? And they're like trying to get it away from him.
They're just like, no, stop.
Yeah, it shoots this beam out the roof and you see this beam go all the way through space. And you see this big meeting that looks like it's almost like a UN meeting, but this is like with several aliens on this planet and this speaker that looks like he's the head of this intergalactic peace mission or something, talking about we can finally have universal peace. Boom, his head explodes from this beam hitting him. Yeah, and they're like, Earth will pay.
all the plans for intergalactic peace are right up here. And he just points to his head. And then that's when the laser comes and just blows it up.
All just because Jeff got mad about his towel getting used. Just the ridiculousness of that just made me laugh so hard. And just the idea that now Earth is about to like get invaded all because of this is just amazing to me.
What chained off of this was the alien leader calling down, because this was the planet of the aliens that, you know, are part of the show. So he calls down and is like, hey, like, you just killed Zargon, like the head of whatever, and Earth has to pay now. And one of the aliens just like, well, what if he just says he's really, 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 really sorry? And he's just like, huh, okay, yeah, I guess if he apologized and really meant it. And then just one of the other aliens just jumps in and is like, well, what if he killed one of his fellow humans as an act of goodwill? As he was about to agree to the really, really sorry thing. And then that becomes...
He's like, oh, that's so much better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that works way better. Yeah. So now... He has to, he just has to murder another human, but he has to do this whole like honor killing. He's got to go through all these steps, a ritual, where he spits on them 3 times, sprinkles pubic hair on them, and then chants Garumba, Garumba, Gara, and that's it. That's it as far as he knows.
Yeah, that's, oh my God. It's insane. So oh my God. So then follows like this entire thing of like all these people showing up and like Jeff trying to keep his cool because he really doesn't want to do it. He's like, I can't kill another person. And it's like his landlord shows up and is yelling at him for being too loud. But his landlord's just like, why can't you be quiet like me? And he's like, I live alone. Like, I have no family, no friends, blah, blah. And it's just all this
no one
kind
will
of
miss
stuff.
me. Yeah.
It's pretty funny. Anyway, then it goes with this series of events of him running into other people, like someone having like road rage against him. And then, or like taking his parking spot. Then it comes to like his boss who's like really mean to him and his coworkers, all kinds of stuff. And he's just constantly being like tempted to like want to kill these people. And he's just like clenching his fists and like, Then he hears one of his coworkers talking about how his grandma's dying. So he's just like, oh, okay. Cause he's talking about how his grandma's like a vegetable and they can't take her off life support and stuff. But she basically is almost dead already. So he's just like, oh, okay. Where's she at? Like, tell me all about it. Kind of like he's getting kind of excited about it. And it shows like the family like kind of saying goodbye to her. Like this girl, like, oh, I miss you so much, Grandma. And they walk out and then Jeff's like hiding behind the curtain. He sneaks out. And he's just like, I'm so sorry for this. Then starts spitting on her face and doing the whole thing.
Yeah. Suffocates her with a pillow.
Yeah. But then takes the body with him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Why?
He puts it in his trunk and is driving her home. And the whole time, like, he's hearing songs about like death and just various things that apply to the situation. He has to turn the radio off. So he gets him home and he finally like shows her to the aliens that he lives with. And they're just like, oh, man, like they're not going to like this, because what happens is by going through this ritual, you sent her soul to the slave camps of Azuria when you said the sacred words. And this is going to be incredibly insulting to our people. And sure enough, that's when the head alien comes on and is like, this sickly old woman offering has enraged our people, and now we're clamoring for war. Yeah.
This guy voiced by Malcolm McDowell, by the way.
Really?
Head alien.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's great. So they're like, no, you got to send like a spry young, like warrior type dude to us that we can actually use, in the mines or whatever. So Jeff has to kill another person.
But the other aliens before that, even, they're just like, did we say anything about dragging the body back to the house? Yeah.
Like, no, well, he did that on his own.
Yeah. Why did you do that? Yeah.
So then he's like at work again and he sees like his boss, who he already doesn't like working out and stuff. And his boss is just talking about like how in good a shape he is and everything. And
for a middle-aged man.
And so then he decides he's going to try to kill his boss. So he tries to jump his boss in the parking lot, which is like a parking garage, which is actually important. He wears a mask and everything, and his boss just beats the crap out of him.
Yeah.
But he does like this jump kick and misses Jeff and falls down the elevator shaft and starts dying anyway. So then Jeff does the ritual again on him and sends him there, which is fantastic. So he's just like, oh yeah, this will work. But that guy was in such good a shape. He escapes his imprisonment there, like his soul escapes his imprisonment on that planet and kills the leader's father. So then they're enraged again, even more.
Yeah.
And so they're like, no, you have to make this right and stuff. And one of the aliens spikes up. What if Jeff kills his own father?
Yeah, to restore balance.
So
yeah.
now, Jeff's like, no. So now Jeff has to kill his own dad. Oh my God. So he's like doing all these things, like he's trying to like spend all this time with his dad and stuff, like taking him all these places, going to concerts with him, going on a road trip. And he's like,
taking him
Dad,
through his bucket list.
he's like, Dad, you're you're getting up there in age and stuff, right? Like you've really you're nearing the end, talking about his bucket list and stuff. It's like, no, I've never felt so good in my life.
Yeah.
I feel so good. But then Jeff ends up, like, the police have been investigating these two deaths before this all comes to a head. So the point where Jeff is close to actually killing his dad by pushing him over the Grand Canyon as they're like visiting it, he gets arrested for double homicide, taken to prison. And then Jeff's like the aliens are gonna end the human race if Jeff doesn't send somebody else. So Jeff decides to get himself killed. He's trying to convince his cellmate to do it, and his cellmate thinks he's crazy and is scared of him.
He's like, wow, you're just messed up.
Yeah, so then he's like insulting like the biggest dude he can find, and the dude in prison's just like, nah, I was new myself, man. I respect you. And I was like, oh my God, he's going to try so hard to get himself killed and it's not going to work. But it finally does. He gets shanked a bunch.
Because he insults his mother, and that was the last straw. So he gets shanked and then performs a ritual on himself with the spit and the pubic hair and everything. And I do want to add that the reason for the pubic hair is because they have to don like a suit that is made of pubic hair
in the afterlife.
The planet in the afterlife.
Yes. So Jeff gets there and finds, his boss's soul, which now has a mech and is destroying everything. His boss has mentioned before about how his boss has a lot of strange dreams that Jeff is a part of. And a lot of them have to do with like the fantasies about Jeff. So he gets there and Jeff just convinces him like, hey, this is all just another dream, man. You just got to wake up. And so it stops him like rampaging and killing everything and destroying this planet.
Well, yeah, you need to relax and maybe give all your employees raises. Like this is him convincing him it's a dream.
So with that said, the aliens, once he stops his thing, the aliens send them all back to Earth, including the grandma. They send their souls back. And that was kind of like the bargain of like, they'll leave Earth alone if Jeff can get rid of this guy and stop it. So they do. And I love like when the little girls sing the grandma again and she's just like, where were you, grandma? And she's like, I was in hell.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And the doctor's just like, at this level of dementia, there's nothing we can do. So it's so dark.
Yeah. And then the whole argument starts over again with him and the aliens because like he like it does the thing where Jeff's like taking his shower, uses towel's clean this time. And he's like, oh, great. Starts brushing his teeth and he goes out to thank them for respecting his space. And then the aliens start braiding him for using their butt brush to brush his teeth.
Yeah.
And then they got in this big argument again as the episode ends. So
also, the boss did give the employees all raises and decide to take Tuesdays and Thursdays off because he thinks there's something seriously wrong with him.
Yeah, he needs therapy.
It needs therapy and starts flirting with Jeff, kind of reenacting what his dreams had been showing him before.
For sure.
Yeah. So that was an interesting start to the series and really kind of gives you a good impression of what you're getting yourselves into. So let's go ahead and start talking about the second episode we watched for today's show, Jeff and some energy trading, season 1, episode 2, which was the highest rated. In this one, Jeff uses an alien machine to trade in his life energy in exchange for luxury items that he uses to impress his girlfriend, Linda, but things quickly spiral out of control.
That's for sure.
That is an understatement. Oh, man.
Yeah.
This episode was hilarious.
This was really good, especially once it takes its turn and starts getting into the crazy stuff. I love the part though about like the whole pawn shop thing though cracked me up. Like I loved that whole through line. That was one of my favorite jokes.
Yeah, that came back full circle that I did not like. I was not anticipating that coming back at all. So it starts off with him kind of just scrolling through pictures of his ex, just mourning the loss of Linda. And she calls him, or well, first, like she's dating this like super fit guy. He's scrolling through like her Instagram or whatever. And he's just like, what does he have that I don't? And Jeff is just this out of shape, like slob, like laying in his bed, scrolling through his pictures. And the aliens decide that it's because he's rich. That's why she's with him and not Jeff. Because they've discovered, being on Earth for as long as they have, that money is the greatest aphrodisiac. The secret ideology in every program on TV is trying to just sell you stuff. And then like this whole time, he's just trying to watch the show. So he completely ignores everything they're saying.
So, yeah. He also like so he kind of takes to heart like the only thing that he can do to like get Linda back, win her approval, because she talks to him about like maybe they should hang out sometime, you know, and he's just like, yeah, that's a great idea. So he immediately is just like, oh, I'll take her to this expensive place. And he says, what was the name of the place? Was it like Shogu or something?
Shogu. Yeah. It was like an expensive sushi place, basically.
Yeah. The most expensive place he could find online that's in their area. And he does not have the money for it. So like he's having to try to pawn as many things as he can to get money. And he goes to his pawn shop and he's trying to take like plastic hangers and stuff like that. Like all the crap around your house that like you don't need anymore, but like isn't worth anything. But then he has that box of like all these gold coins that his like grandpa gave to him. And you get this like whole like flashback of his grandfather in his dying, like his deathbed, like telling everyone to leave the room. And he's like telling him about like how he stuffed the guts back into this wounded soldier. And he ended up being the king of Sweden who gifted him like this box of gold coins. And it's like, this is your legacy. And then he's like, how about this? So the pawn shop guy's like, yeah, I'll give you $30. And he's like, I'll take it.
He's like, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. Once he goes to the, he goes back to the aliens and they introduce him to this device called an energy trader. And what it does is it sucks energy from a person to create an item, like whatever they're thinking or wishing for.
Yeah.
And so he uses it to make a Porsche and just to see what it would do. And he's just like, oh my God, like this is amazing. But like, can I just keep making stuff? They're like, yeah, but every time you do it, the price is your own energy, which is just a portion of your life. So you basically just taken 5 years out of your life for this Porsche.
He's like, I don't even like cars. Why did I do this? That's great. And even though he's just like, I'll never do that again, then immediately he starts doing it for stuff like a thing of popcorn, like one of those popcorn tins from Christmas.
Yeah.
He gets an iguana. He gets some new clothes. He does it to get some batteries for something.
Oh yeah, just his batteries in his remote ran out, so he just refilled them with the machine.
Yeah, a drone that he gets and then immediately crashes. Oh man!
And this whole time, like at first you're just slowly watching him age. He's getting like crow's feet and wrinkles, and it's like okay, it's not just too much yet. Yeah.
But yeah, it's so good. And we see him at Shogu with Linda, and he's like in a new suit, and his hair's all nice and stuff. Even though he's looking slightly older, and he just
drove her there in the Porsche, but it's a stick, and he can't drive a stick, so he's just like stalling every like 2 feet trying to get her there.
Which is so funny because like, everywhere he goes in that thing, he's got traffic backed up behind him.
Yeah,
and that's great. They're all honking at him and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I love when they're eating the sushi there, and she's just talking about how changed he is and how he's so great. And he's asking her like, well, what didn't work out with Chet? And she's just talking about like how, she was great and all, but there was some small things like she can't really see a future with them. And he doesn't have like that nurturing instinct. And Jeff's like, oh yeah, that's so important. And then you see him like feeding the iguana, which is in a baby seat next to him.
Yeah.
And apparently the iguana's name is Sawyer, and he's like, Sawyer's a service animal.
Right. That's how he got him into the restaurant.
Oh my God, that was killing me. Oh, that made me laugh so hard.
So we start going through just like a montage of all the stuff. Because, well, okay, so at the end of this, she's like, "This is going to sound crazy, but would you ever consider giving us another try?" And he just oh yeah, I would. Praise Jesus! Like he just overreacts, and he's just like, "Oh, I mean, yeah, we could give it another try if you wanted to."
Sure, I guess. Yeah.
So after that, it's this whole montage of him just wasting his own life energy on the energy trader to take her on these like luxury trips to France, and just around the world. When he goes to France, I wanted to point out because like that's when he's getting a caricature of him drawn, or they're getting a caricature drawn by this like sketch artist in front of the Eiffel Tower, and just seeing the image of, since Jeff is getting like considerably older now because of all the trading he's doing. The image is just like drawn, Linda looking pretty normal, and then Jeff is just this decrepit old man in the caricature drawing.
Yeah, that was like, really good.
That's when we first start to really see the signs of the effects this is having on him.
Yeah, especially like he's getting like fatter, his skin's starting to sag, his hair's receding a lot. They're in bed and she's like getting frisky and he's just like, "Hey, how about we take a nap?" Like, that sounds good, doesn't it? And she's just like, "What? No, we just started." He's like, "Yeah, but a nap sounds real good right now." And she's just like, then looks at his arm. She's like, "Are those liver spots?" He's like, "No, it's a mole."
No, they're just freckles. Yeah.
Freckles. So he just keeps getting worse and worse. And then she's starting to notice everything. And so he panics and he's like, "Okay, I got to do something to impress her." So he goes downstairs, talks with the aliens, and is like, "I need something to really knock her socks off." So he decides to get her a diamond ring, and it gets zapped one more time, but it turns him into like, basically he's like 100 years old. His teeth are falling out. He's just decrepit. Yeah. Like looks almost like the crypt keeper, and he like barely makes it back to the bedroom. And he's like, "Here you go." And she's just like, "Oh God, Jeff, there's some old creepy old man broke into the house." Yeah. He's like, "No, it's me. It's Jeff." She
runs away. And so he ends up having to go to the hospital because he's just falling apart now.
He's dying.
He gets the bill for $125,000, and so he's just like, and has to go. He goes back home. What's great is like it shows it as a cut of just it showing the house again, and then he's back in the hospital because he's wished for something to make that $125,000 to pay off this hospital bill. And now he's even older. Yeah. And the doctor, the second time, it's just like, there are payment plans. You don't have to pay this all at once. And he's just like, oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, man.
And this whole time, though, we should add that the aliens have been talking to their leader, and they need to get a sample from Jeff by the end of the month, just a fluid sample or something, just to show like the progression that he's making or whatever. Yeah. And
he's trying to study humans and how humans age and everything.
And Jeff has been just like procrastinating, like not wanting to do it, not wanting to give the fluids and all that. And now he's so old that it's like they're not able to get a good sample out of him anyway, because he's basically on his deathbed now. So it transfers to them like going to Jeff's hospital bed because he literally is on his deathbed, just watching life going by outside of the window. And it's a really sad scene. And then they come in like dressed as a human that they just like explode out of.
That's so gross.
Yeah.
I don't think they were necessarily dressed as a human. I think the three of them were hidden inside a human body.
Okay, yeah. So they were just inside of a human body.
Yeah.
And pop out of
it.
They
just explode out of it because you see blood just spurt all over the place. That's true. So gross.
And so they explained to him, it's like, you can get your youth back, but you have to give back an equal amount of what you took from the energy trader. So he's like, all right, we'll put the car back. And he like barely does anything because they explain they're like cars lose half their quality, half their value the moment they leave the lot.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's not working. And that's when he sees like the pawn shop guy on TV, like on a talk show, and he's being interviewed by someone, and this woman's just like, wow, like how interesting, you ended up finding like the most valuable coins ever seen by mankind, like worth $13 million. And Jeff's like, ah. Yeah. So he dresses up as his old grandpa, takes him to court, and then, pretends to be, the 100-something-year-old war veteran. And like the judge berates the pawn shop guy for swindling him out of like those coins and saying that he stole them and everything. So they get the coins back, but he doesn't get to keep them because they use the coins to transfer energy back to Jeff, but they didn't calculate right. And I love this whole thing. So there was so much energy to those coins because of their value that it turns Jeff into a baby. And they're like, oh man, we should have done the math on that because then he could have gone back to his age and kept at least $7 million.
Right.
So baby Jeff just starts crying hysterically.
And it's like, then it jumps to a point where Linda comes back to get some of her stuff, and she just sees this baby Jeff like sitting in the middle of the room, like in basically a cage almost. Yeah. And so she's like, oh my God, what is going on? So she grabs baby Jeff and takes him out, and then Chet's there too. And they're just like, okay, well, we got to take care of this baby together. And this whole time, like, Chet's getting advice from one of his friends, like Brad or something. I can't remember what his name was. And Brad's also in the background the whole time, like giving Jeff's thumbs up and stuff as he's going through the process of trying to get Linda back by basically lying to her and acting like he's supportive and whatever. And so he's offering to help take care of baby Jeff. But Jeff still has his mind about him. Like doesn't have a baby's mind, so he still is able to act on his own accord. He just can't speak yet, so he's literally trying to kill Chet this whole time while all this is going on, or at least fight him. Yeah,
he's sabotaging like everything he does. Yeah. Like when Chet first buys the engagement ring, and then Jeff just eats it.
Yeah, just swallows it.
Swallows it. Oh man, it's so good. There's one part though where like Jeff it might have been when he swallowed it. I don't remember. And Chet started like spanking the crap out of him.
Yeah, it was when he swallowed the ring because he was like, you stupid baby, and trying to get the ring out of him by like hitting him
real hard.
Yeah.
And this got caught on a baby monitor that records video, which will come up later. But in the meantime, they would like drop him off at daycare and stuff. And the aliens are going crazy because they're like, we're going to lose our jobs. Like, we don't want to, the two of the aliens are like, I guess I can go back to doing this. I could go back to my dad's farm, whatever. And one of them's like, this job is my life.
Yeah,
and just,
this job defines me.
He just busts into this daycare and scares the crap out of these kids, which cracked me up so hard. Steals what he thinks is baby Jeff, and they bring him back to the house. And they're trying to pull stuff out of him, like energy out of him to grow him up. And it ends up just growing up this big old baby man. And they're like, wait, who are you? And he's like, I'm Andy.
I'm Andy. Yeah. And it's like, because you have to wish for things to take that energy from you to make you age. So they're just like, all right, just wish for whatever you want to, talking to baby Andy. And all this baby food is just like piling up around him, aging him up to what I guess would be Jeff's age. But he's just this big baby still in a giant diaper who still has the mind of a baby. And so it's just Andy sitting there, which you think is kind of a throwaway thing, but you do see Andy a little bit later too.
Couple times. Yeah. So then they got to go back, and like, it's funny. Like, you see the daycare people like finally get all the kids to calm down. They're like, now you're all safe in there. Nothing's going to hurt you. You know, everything's quiet. And as soon as they close the door and they're like, everyone's safe, then the alien busts through the grate again. It's like, ah, like they all start crying again. And then he grabs Jeff. They get him back to his normal age and everything. And then he shows up, confronts Linda and Chet, and then shows them the video of Chet beating baby Jeff. So she breaks up with Chet, but then also, you know, is also like creeped out by Jeff from all of the weird stuff that was happening. And so like they end at least though on a, well, we can still at least be friends sort of thing. So
yeah. And when Jeff is first brought back, like he's just like, who's that? And he sees baby Andy in a corner, and he's just peeing on himself.
In the house.
Yeah,
he's just living in Jeff's house, just in the corner. At the end of the episode, though, like you see this farmer like walking into his barn. He's like, "What's that noise?" He walks in there, and it's just Andy like sucking on a mama pig. Like,
yeah.
drinking the milk, and he's like, "Oh, Mandy,
who are you? Oh, Mandy, yeah,
so gross."
But the through line with the aliens where they were trying to get his fluids extracted, that comes back too.
Yeah.
And so, and Andy, I mean, they finally get him out, and Jeff is just like, all right, I'm never going to trade my life energy in for anything ever again. Time for work. See you guys in 12 hours. And then it shows this like really somber scene of him like leaving his house and walking with this like crowd of other people in suits like zombies and with this somber music playing to this like factory filled kind of city. And it's like, oh man, that's very like sad to think about it like that. Trading your energy in for all of that.
I feel like that's a message that would have hit you really hard.
That still hits me hard.
Yeah.
Even now.
Yeah, exactly.
So the last episode we watched for today's show was Jeff and Some Childlike Joy and Whimsy, season 1, episode 8. And this was Patreon picked by Semantics.
Thanks, Semantics.
Thank you. This one, Jeff tries to renew his old best friend's zest for life by slipping him a psychoactive substance. Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds worse than it is, though, as far as the substance. It's not like he gave him drugs. Like I
wouldn't call it a psychoactive substance per se, but maybe. Sauce! Dude!
It's a lot of
one
that.
Of those kind of things.
I don't know how old they're supposed to. Are they supposed to be like in their late 20s or early 30s?
I would guess they're in their 30s. Yeah, I would guess they're about our age.
Okay, that's what I would have thought. But then at one point, Sauce or Michael is like, it's been like 10 years since, and that was like back in like college, I think they were doing stuff. So it's like, wow, that would make them like in their 20s maybe.
Some people go to college for a long time.
I mean, who knows?
If Michael is an attorney, which I think he is, that means he might have been in college for a very long time.
That's true. Yeah. So I don't know their exact age, but that's beside the point. Right now, it starts with these two people talking about, you know, it being crazy for the Fed to raise rates right now, which is very topical, actually.
Honestly, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, sadly. And then Jeff jumps into this conversation and just starts shouting penis. And it's like, wait, what are you doing? And just like slowly just keeps saying it like louder and louder and louder. And then he introduces himself as Sauce's best friend and Spit brother from the 5th grade. And they're just like, who's Sauce? And that ends up being Michael. It's his birthday party. Jeff's best friend, I guess, or former best friend, who he still considers his best friend, even though Sauce or Michael has clearly moved on in his life, where Jeff has kind of stayed back in high school, college years.
Yeah, if you've listened to us like talk about Jeff and how just pathetic and grungy he is, I mean, you get it. But Michael is super clean cut. He's like an attorney or lawyer. He's surrounded by like all these people in suits, even at his birthday party. He's married. He's got all these responsibilities and stuff. And so everybody's just so taken aback to Jeff and like have never heard his nickname. And he's just like, oh yeah, let me tell you about like Sauce. I can't believe you haven't heard that. And he starts telling the story. It's about how like he ate this gyro one time and got diarrhea for like 3 days. And that's where the name Sauce comes from.
Even his mom started calling him Sauce.
Yeah. It's so gross.
And he's like super embarrassed by it. But then Jeff is like, all right, I got to save some of this gold for my birthday speech. And he's like, wait, what? And then the DJ calls like to see if McNoodles is in the house. And that's where Jeff goes up and just starts rapping about their entire history and all the embarrassing things that he and Sauce have done together, even throwing in like the orc language that they made up together.
Oh my God. Yeah, they did have a language that they made up for orcs. Michael's horribly embarrassed by the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
And you can tell because later on, Jeff is back home talking to the aliens and just complaining about like how Sauce is just lame. Like he's grown up. He's lost all of his fun and everything. And they're just talking to him about like, well, no, that's like, you know, he's lost his BX47. It's this like chemical that humans have. And as humans get older, because of how your society is like structured and everything, like all the, stress and rigors and stuff of your society basically causes your BX47 to deplete. And as it depletes, you just become super lackluster and you just don't enjoy anything. That's just the way they kind of describe it. And so it's just like, oh, we've got to increase his BX47. So they give him like this huge, was it like a giant pill or something like that they gave him?
No, it was like a vial of liquid.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the only thing that can destroy BX47 in a human is the stress that society is bringing about. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of tips him over the edge of being like, okay, I'm going to get him some BX47 is he was reviewing these old videos of them because they used to make these little rap videos back in the day, like on YouTube and stuff. And it was just all these like dumb, really gross rap songs that I won't repeat what they're about. But like they found out they've got like millions of views on them and it's all people from Sweden. So they're like, what? And then Jeff like contacts some of these people and finds out like, yeah, they're huge over in Sweden. And there's this youth festival going on over there on the weekend. And they're going to offer them 10,000 euros and first class tickets to perform there, but only if both of them come together because they need noodles and sauce to both be there. So he goes to talk with, Michael about it, who is not interested in the slightest. So then Jeff forces BX47 down his gullet, basically. Yeah. And he just goes over the top, just ridiculous in no time. It definitely goes, he goes from 0 to 60 in no second flat.
Yeah, he goes from being like responsible Michael, who is basically ignoring his wife, Whitney, in favor of like, oh, I'm going to make partner soon. Just give it like 6 more months or so. And she's complaining because he's been saying that for the past 4 years. And he's just so obsessed with work. So he is on the opposite end of the spectrum here until that BX47 is sprayed in his face and then like really poured down his gullet after Jeff jumps on him and gets frustrated with him. And that just sends him straight back to college years, like mentally.
Yeah. So now he's ignoring his wife to, go do this rap thing at the summer festival in Sweden. Him and Jeff get out there and they're just partying it up. And this is where things start to turn on Jeff. And I think it's hilarious where like it's super late. They've been drinking a lot, taking all kinds of stuff. And Jeff's like, yeah, man, this has been great. But like, it's probably time to start heading back, getting kind of tired. And Sauce is like, well, we're just getting started, man. And like, Jeff's like, nah, but like, yeah, I'm pretty tired. I'm afraid I'm gonna. And then like it shows him the next morning. He's so sick. He's just barfing all over the place.
And then Sauce comes in and he's trying to get with Ingrid, who is this like 15-year-old girl. And Jeff is just
problematic.
Very problematic. Jeff is just like, for multiple reasons, this is terrible. A, you have a wife, and B, she's only 15, even though that's the legal age in Sweden, apparently. And he's just like, I gotta sow my wild oats, dude. So he just like runs off. He is just completely insane now. Like even Jeff sees it. He's gone too far at this point. Like he needs to like reel him back in.
So he has to call the aliens for advice. And the aliens are super mad at Jeff for leaving them high and dry because Jeff is paying all this attention to Sauce and is kind of like forgotten all about them. And they're feeling really used and unappreciated because they're with him like every day. And then he's just like all about how great Sauce is and just ignoring them basically, except for when he needs something. They tell him what to do, but they're mad at him about everything. But they're basically like, you got to stress him out to counteract it. Which he does because he brings in those actors to pretend to be cops, busting them for drugs in the woods. And Sauce freaks out and grabs Jeff and they fall off a cliff into the woods. And Jeff gets super hurt.
Well, they fall into a creek first and then Jeff hits his head on a rock and just starts bleeding out. And so trying to save him is stressing Michael or Sauce out enough to where it's like regulating his BX47 back down to normal or non-existent because he literally thinks Jeff is going to die right in front of him. He's trying to save him. he finally gets to a point where he's able to at least normalize him for a minute. And then it's like a cold night. So they're just like bundling up together in the nude to stay warm with skin to skin contact. And, what Sauce is like, if we die out here, I'll never get to apologize to Whitney. And asks Jeff if there's anyone like that in his life. And Jeff imagines the aliens and how they support him and like makes pots of stew for him and whatever, just all the things they do for him. So he kind of gains an appreciation, even though they both think they're about to die.
Yeah, but they get found. They end up in a hospital. They get treated and everything. And then they go back to the festival to perform a song. But instead of performing all the songs that they were asked to do, they wrote a new song and they start singing about how being young forever would suck and being an adult is actually good and isn't so bad, and like how they're appreciative of their responsibilities and the people in their lives, and like everyone's booing them and hates it.
Yeah, like don't stunt your own growth and be left behind, but also don't get caught up in your job or your status. So basically, like, find a steady middle ground. And then, like, Sauce starts singing about his love for his wife. And this whole time, Whitney had actually gotten there because she saw, like, an Instagram post of Michael at a bubble party with that 15-year-old. And it was like, what is going on? I have to go out there. So she's at the concert as well, listening to all this. And so she runs up on stage. Like, they're hugging and everything, but they're getting completely booed. And that's when Michael professes his love for her and tells her he's never going to take her for granted again and all that. We cut over to Jeff going home and giving the aliens all these souvenir gifts that they really thought like were cheap and like they weren't going to like. And they all just end up loving the souvenirs. And there was a side thing where Jeff was at the hospital in Sweden. And he was going to get like, cheaper medical care and stuff. And he needed all these surgeries to basically survive. But he's like, no, I'll just get him in America where I know I'm not going to get cheated or swindled. And then we get back to America and he sees he's talking on the phone with somebody in the background at the hospital. And it's like, what do you mean the surgeries are going to cost me $200,000? So it's like he could have easily gotten it so much cheaper. And I think Michael was even trying to convince him back in Sweden that like it's very reasonable here, but he just wouldn't listen. He had to do it in America.
Yeah, he did not trust Sweden, and he should have. Definitely should have.
And at the same time, this closes out with them talking about how Jeff is being a lot nicer, and they feel appreciated now. And so they're like, looks like the estrogen we've been giving is finally starting to pay off. You should double the dose, because like a couple things you're seeing throughout the episode also that they've been slowly trying to slip him estrogen here and there, and they're trying to hide it from him. But so it's funny to see that wrap back around.
Exactly.
Well, Chris, looks like it's about time we sent our kids to help Jeff rekindle his relationship with Linda, or just see if the aliens will spare us once they realize the human race is absolutely not worth saving. Then see what they thought of Jeff and some aliens.
This show makes me kind of scared to grow up. Like, everything seems pretty awful. One little mistake and you have hospital bills, your girlfriend leaves you, or you start an intergalactic war and have to kill your dad to make peace. Not great.
I didn't understand a lot of these jokes, but the aliens were really funny. Plus, they seemed way smarter than humans. So if a superior alien race thinks running around in their underwear is okay, then who am I to argue? Finally, the world will get to see my favorite Ninja Turtle undies.
The freedom to be free, just run around in your underoos all day.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
I mean, I have days like that currently, so it's not too far off.
We have too many windows. So, and, living across the street from a park.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to you'll get put on a list real quick. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to end up on the list.
Right.
So what are some of the things that you liked about Jeff and some aliens?
I went into this show a little worried because adult animated shows that lean on crude humor can be really hit or miss. And I'd never even heard of this one. So that it was a red flag for me because I'm like, I haven't heard of it. And it's this kind of humor. It must have been really bad. And this one really hits the ground running with its crudeness. So It turned out, though, that like all of that kind of helped set the tone so that I knew after that first episode what I was going to get myself into. And luckily, the deeper into the show we got, the more dynamic the episodes became. So that was something I wasn't expecting. And the jokes, some of them got really deep, even as inappropriate as the surrounding ones were. So it's kind of like an Oreo that got dropped on a restroom floor. So the sides are completely gross, but within, in the middle, the delicious cream center was completely preserved. So you still might consider eating it.
Wow, that's that's the most interesting way I think I've ever heard anyone describe a show before. An Oreo that got dropped on the bathroom floor.
Yeah. The creamy center still so pure, even though the surroundings are pretty gross. And at first,
I like that.
I think it felt like the aliens were just kind of a gimmicky side characters to me, and I couldn't really tell them apart at first as far as their personalities went. But then when I watched more, I kind of mentally started combining them into a single character with a wide range of emotions, and that helped me to visualize what they actually were, because you never really see them apart. And I think it would be kind of strange to see them separated from one another, because they basically are just like one really funny character.
Yeah, I get that. I'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later as well. But one thing that I really like about this too is like the design of everything. It's really great in just a real trashy kind of way. Just everything's so dirty, but it lends itself perfectly to the type of story they're trying to tell, since everything's so rough and grungy. Lots of the characters are just lumpy and tired looking, but it totally complements the mood of the story, because it really is about like just this guy that's just kind of a pathetic dude, and how much his life kind of sucks half the time. Just all the things that happen to him. Like, and that's another one of the things I like is I love Jeff. I love the character of Jeff. And I love how much of a train wreck he is. It's kind of like if Meg Griffin was the center of Family Guy. It's like, you know, they've got this character that becomes the butt of every joke. Like everything goes wrong with him, and he's just so pathetic. Even at times where he does the right thing, like it's like no matter if he does the wrong thing or the right thing in any given situation, something bad's going to happen to him no matter what he does. And that's what makes it even more hilarious, because it's like it's a little bit of an argument in like the futility of existence sometimes. And that's also where some of the richness of the show comes in too, is just sort of that dark humor and like that dark observational humor too, of like it's got sort of that bleak outlook, but in a super funny way of like you can stand for good things and you could do good things, but like these bad circumstances still could happen to you. And that's sort of Jeff's whole shtick. He does make horrible decisions, but even when he makes the right ones, he's still punished for it no matter what. And I think that's fantastic.
I think the last episode we watched was a great example of that, because he means well at first, trying to, you know, get his friend back from being like stuck in like work mode and so serious all the time. And then, you know, that fails. So he corrects that. And then that ends up really helping Michael out in the long run and Whitney's relationship. But Jeff then is like, has that $200,000 hospital bill and requires multiple surgeries. So it's like, yeah, Jeff completely got screwed in the process, but at least he helped somebody else out.
Exactly. It's like the people around him might benefit, but Jeff himself will always go down. Like,
yeah,
he's just punished for everything. And it's like that dark type of humor that makes this show so good. And there's also just a lot of, there's a lot of just social commentary, especially around like the American kind of work culture in itself too, in this, that I think is really intriguing, especially that we saw in like the second episode also, like when you're kind of considering that idea of like, well, to impress, you know, the girl, you have to have all the nice things. So he's literally trading his life to impress this girl, and it's still really not enough, you know, like, well, it's not really that it's enough. in the end, it still doesn't work for him because that's not what he should have been doing. It's just like, no matter what, it wasn't going to work for him. And like, all he did was just waste some of his life away. And it's just a really interesting idea.
And also the commentary on just work in general being us trading our valuable energy for gain. But it's like, at what point is it just not worth it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I mean by like there being kind of like smart humor kind of underneath all of this. Like it seems really crude on the surface, but there's a lot more to it than I would have expected.
Yeah, absolutely. With that said, though, what are some of the dislikes or criticisms that you found in this one?
I mean, not all the jokes are gems, of course, because in a show like this, you're going to have some misses and really skate into some questionable territory. But and some of it is just downright depressing, but like intentionally so, sort of. So it's like you have to kind of laugh at how ridiculous human society is to keep from crying kind of thing.
Oh, totally.
And honestly, I don't mind the crass humor like that or the dark humor because it's absolutely based on a reality that we don't often like to face. And sometimes we just need to. So this is one of those things where it's like more of a negative that can be flipped over into a positive depending on what kind of mood you're in while you're watching it. So basically just don't go into this in the wrong frame of mind or else like it's just going to make you feel worse.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you would approach this like you would a South Park episode or something. Like you go in, expecting something over the top and crude, because you're here, like you said, you're here to kind of laugh at the ridiculousness of the human experience, basically,
Mm-hmm.
and just how crappy things can be so that you don't get depressed and cry about it. That's sort of like what this show is.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying like, yeah, we all know and we all see it. So it's like, here's us all sharing let's all laugh about just how ridiculous we are as people.
One of the things that you mentioned earlier that was something that I was a little disappointed in was just I didn't get a good feel for the three aliens that much as separate personalities. But let me I'm gonna pivot at one point here, but let me get my thought out here. The idea that like 3 episodes in, I had no idea what their names were, like any of them. And I couldn't tell you who was who at all and would not really be able to tell you differences between them other than one of them had a little bit more of a childlike voice and one of them had a weird looking mouth. Other than that, like I felt like there was really no distinguishable traits between the 3. And I feel like that's a little bit of a missed opportunity. But when you brought up the idea that if you start thinking about the aliens as a single entity with different facets rather than 3 entities, that kind of makes a little bit more sense to me as to maybe that's what the showrunners or creators were kind of going for. So that kind of changed my perspective a little bit when you mentioned that. So I think now I'm a little bit more neutral towards it as far as being critical rather than something I disliked about it. Because I'm like, if you do think about them as a unit, it is actually kind of fun and it is funny. Like they're funny. I like those characters. I just thought it was strange at first that I'm like, here's these characters and I've watched so many episodes and I still don't really feel like I know anything about them. But as a unit, I could get a feel for what they would do. I just couldn't say what they would do individually.
Yeah, 100%. But that's why I kind of had to reframe it to really appreciate them as a single character.
Yeah, and I think that makes some sense, to be honest. My only other thing was like, I feel like each episode hit a little bit of a soft wall about 11 minutes in where like a large portion of the main conflict got resolved. Then it shifts into a new and secondary conflict caused by the first one. And sometimes, and I think it was with 2 of these episodes and not with the last one, but I think the first 2, it felt like it hit a point where the main through joke of the episode itself started to wear off on me a little bit. And I was kind of ready for a resolution rather than a continuation with like an offshoot conflict from the original conflict. So that just made me think that maybe they could have done the formula like kind of like close enough and do like, 2 2-parter episodes and been just as successful telling the stories they wanted to tell, like condensing it a little bit. But that could also be, us watching all these back to back. We kind of binge these things as we're taking our notes and doing the show and stuff. So I don't know. That was just like one little criticism of mine.
You know what? I completely agree with you on that. It wasn't something I was really thinking about after the fact, but as I was going through the episodes, it would hit a point where it'd be like a pause for me. And I would think like, okay, this would be a good spot for it to start ending, because I wasn't like watching the time or anything. And then it like jumps into a totally different thing. I'm like, oh, wait, like I'm only like halfway through, if even that. And so it definitely felt like they were structured for 11-minute showtime, which would have made sense since they came from that Trip Tank thing, which had shorts in there. So it's like originally like that was probably the format of them, and the writing still kind of felt like that. Not that I didn't like the side stories as like singular things, but it just felt weird them all tying together. They all had kind of a weird flow to them where like you said, it would kind of hit a soft wall and then you'd have to adjust and move forward instead of it flowing smoothly.
Yeah, I feel like that first episode, it was like after he found out the grandma wouldn't work as the sacrifice, because that was a longer point to get all the way up to that. And that was about 11 minutes in where that part happened. And, realizing that wouldn't work, I felt like they were leading to an end right there of just, like doing all that for nothing, that being the end. And then in the second episode we talked about, I felt like the softball was the point of him
getting turned into a baby.
Well, I was thinking of him becoming so old, like he did all these things that he got so old that she doesn't even recognize him anymore and runs out screaming. So again, he did everything for nothing, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like right up until the point where he becomes a baby. Like I felt like that was another, one of those points, or like maybe the point where he sees the pawn shop guy and that guy was basically rich now. Like that would have been a great end point to end on, and just not let there be continuity in the show, but just end on those moments, I think would have done a lot.
Yeah, because it did seem like they were just trying to make sure that it like ended, maybe not always the best for Jeff, but ended cleanly where it's like, okay, now we can transition into something else. Like it wouldn't have ended on him being old and stuck in bed and then just jumped into the next episode with him being young again. Like it felt like they had to explain their way through it instead of just having like serialized, or not even serialized, but like episodic ones where it's like each one was kind of a self-contained story.
Yeah, exactly.
But overall, with all that said, what would you give this show?
I mean, overall, I got a lot of laughs out of this cartoon, especially with the dark kind of humor that really appeals to me as an adult. Although it's not a perfect show, but I still enjoyed it and I'd be interested in watching more. And I would honestly say I'm kind of surprised that the one season is all we got. Well, I'd say I was kind of surprised if it hadn't been on Comedy Central, where, I don't know, I feel like animation doesn't always perform really well on Comedy Central. But either way, I think it was overall a pretty solid show, pretty good, lots of laughs. So I gave Jeff and Some Aliens 4 bowls of Garumba Garumba Garah cereal out of 5.
Yeah, like I definitely, and I cannot stress this enough, I definitely don't think this show will be everyone's cup of tea. And that's okay if it's not, especially if you're not able to get past that like thick layer of raunchy humor or the even crude animation. Thick and juicy. But that said, once you overcome those obstacles, there's actually a surprising amount of smart humor buried underneath. And the cartoon does make some interesting commentary on life in general. So much so that it really did make me look inward and sort of evaluate the way I'm living my life currently. So that's something. So overall, I'd give Jeff and Some Aliens 4.5 big bowls of BX 47 Bites cereal out of 5. I would say to check out the first episode. And if you are okay with that one, you'll pretty much know whether or not you'll be able to handle the rest of the show. Yeah, or if you like Rick and Morty, then I think you'll do just fine with this one too.
What was your favorite episode out of the 3 we watched, though?
That's a good question. Honestly, God, it's hard. It's between the last 2 for sure.
Really?
Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the first one was my favorite, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think the second one might have been my favorite. Seeing Jeff go through all that aging and just the comedy behind everything he was sacrificing for basically nothing. And then seeing just the failure that he was going through. It's one of those situations where it's like watching him fail is part of the fun.
Yeah, exactly.
This poor character. I know we've talked about that with characters before, but that was just part of the humor there, was just like Jeff's sad life.
Oh, absolutely. And I agree that I think there is like a little bit of a Rick and Morty feel in some ways to this, of like, you know, having a character that like you're not supposed to always like this character. You can like some things about this character, but this character isn't the best dude, you know? And
right.
Makes some poor decisions. And it's fun to laugh the misfortune of this character because of all the things he does and the situations he puts himself in. And plus, there's a lot of sci-fi stuff. I mean, he literally lives with 3 aliens that hang out in their underwear all day. So if you are a fan of Rick and Morty, this is one that you might enjoy.
Yeah, it'll be a good like partner show, especially since it's only 10 episodes. You can kind of breeze through it.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Toshen Ranma, for suggesting this. And now we are definitely going to dedicate a fighting game to you.
Yeah, I was going to say thank you. And thanks for our new inspiration for our new game that we're going to make starring Ryugi.
Yeah. Well, listeners, looks like our milk supply is now run dry. So it's time for us to say goodbye. And next week, we'll be watching
All Dogs Go to Heaven, suggested via YouTube by Jason A.
Oh, man. I haven't seen that movie. I have like a memory of watching that movie in I think at another person's house, like another person my mom was visiting their house. And I don't have many memories from childhood, so I'll say that.
Yeah.
But I do remember sitting down and watching this movie. I don't remember much about it, but I remember specifically watching this one. So it'll be interesting to step back into it.
I remember specifically watching it in my living room as a kid and being really disturbed by it.
Oh,
so yeah, like I remember being creeped out by some things and just it really, I don't know, making me cringe. So like I'm interested to see it, but I've got some real reservations going in. Like I'm kind of like, oh man, what door is this going to open?
And this was a Don Bluth thing, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah, that'll be wow. I'm surprised that one came back.
Yeah.
Okay. I have no words because I don't know if it's going to be any good or not.
We'll see.
We will see. Well, once again, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
We'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by Nerdsloth.
A place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.